Good morning, everybody. I'll start right away. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're very happy you could attend the virtual Cedarburg Snapshot today, presented by Port Washington State Bank. On behalf of the Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and staff, we're really happy you could join us today and pay attention a little bit to Cedarburg's State of the Community Address, which is certainly a lot different than it was last year. We need to just mention a few housekeeping items. I've said it a couple of times. If you are not a speaker or if you're not speaking currently, please mute your microphone so we can eliminate some of that background noise. If you are not speaking, please turn off your camera as well for the distraction, so that's not there as well. If at any time you would like to ask a question to one of the presenters, you're welcome to do that by using the chat icon at the bottom of your screen. And we will do a question and answer session at the end of the meeting. And also just a little note to make sure you know that this session is being recorded. And we will post it on our chamber Facebook page and our website also. So without further ado, we will move forward. Thanks for listening to the fun little virtual housekeeping items we have to say. First, what I'd like to do is extend a very warm thank you to our presenter, Port Washington State Bank today. Thank you for your partnership, your constant support. Port Washington State Bank is an Ozaukee County state bank. Nothing about that has changed since last year. Their continued support of our local communities is hugely impressive. They continue to give their time, their talents, their financial support, knowledge, and they help those that they work with grow. We'll hear more from Port Washington State Bank in a moment, but we first want to give you a little state of the chamber update.
Craig Shank
is now joining.
Many of you listening are already members of our chamber, which strives to support, promote, protect, and serve our local business community. This year, however, we know is very different. It's different because we haven't been able to see you in person all that much. It's different because our businesses have struggled in ways that we've never seen before, and for a reason none of us have experienced in our lifetimes. It's different because we've had to put a lot of our local events on hold, including in the chamber world, the big 4th of July parade and celebration.
Is now joining.
The one thing the chamber is still here. We're still celebrating our 75th anniversary this year. We're still very active and we're still very excited to serve our members. We are honored to guide those who need it and help make Cedarburg, which is continuously filled with both loyal businesses and residents, an even more amazing place to be. And with that, we still remain and always will be Cedarburg strong. The Cedarburg Chamber has welcomed 12 new members since the pandemic began in March, bringing us to a total of 314 members. We're proud that even in times of hardship, Cedarburg businesses found our chamber an important part of their success. A chamber is very many things. We're flexible, we are evolving, and because that's really what it takes to be a forward thinker and a relevant thinker. We offer a mix of tangible and intangible benefits to our members, and I think that proves that a vibrant chamber is good for a vibrant community.
TJ Swank.
To continue making Cedarburg a special place to live and play, I invite you to be part of a community-wide effort to help funnel thousands of dollars into our Cedarburg community who desperately need the support. Thanks to a generous benefactor, we have $10,000 in chamber gift checks to dole out to those who purchase a $50 gift card through our gift check extravaganza on Friday, June 12th, starting at 8 a.m. The gift check extravaganza does two things. First, it gives an immediate cash influx to participating local businesses as you buy their gift cards through our chamber event. But what it also does is it gives you an additional $25 bonus chamber gift check for every $50 gift card that you purchase. If you've done the quick math, yes, we are limiting them to 2 bonus gift checks per person. But if you've done the quick math, that is an influx of at least $30,000 into our Cedarburg business community. They'll go quickly. So please, if you would like to participate in that by purchasing a gift check, please log in as soon as you can at 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, June 12th at cedarburg.org and purchase a gift check. The businesses that are participating are listed on Facebook and also on cedarburg.org. We're also very excited to announce 3 opportunities for Cedarburg Communities Summer this year to enjoy some time at the drive-in. We're proud to announce that the big screen drive-in movie theater experience is coming to Cedarburg on 3 Saturdays this summer, July 25th, August 22nd, and September 26th. More details and location and films will follow, but please make sure to save those dates for some good nostalgic fun at the drive-in, courtesy of the Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce and our generous sponsors. If it is something that you as a business would like to sponsor, please reach out and we'd be happy to get you that information. One last mention of our 4th of July. We're still diligently working as a chamber to offer ways to plan for fireworks for our community on July 4th. We'd like to take a moment to thank Olson's Piggly Wiggly, which is still generously offering us the opportunity to round up to the nearest dollar to benefit the Cedarburg Fire Department, the Cedarburg fireworks in June this year. We appreciate their consideration and their help with that, and we also appreciate you considering to round up to the nearest dollar. Even though we can't be together in a community-wide parade and picnic this year, we are trying to work hard to find some level of normalcy for our community, and we certainly appreciate your support in that way. It does show that Cedarburg and residents and businesses are truly a supportive team, and we'd love to try to keep it that way. So with that, it ends my little portion of the program. I would love to turn the floor over to Lois Reske, who is here presenting on behalf of our presenting sponsor, Port Washington State Bank. Lois, if you'd like to go right ahead, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Maggie. Welcome again to the State of Community Breakfast. It's an honor to be with you virtually today. On behalf of Port Washington State Bank, I'd first like to say thanks to Maggie and the rest of the chamber for all they've been doing to help Cedarburg through the COVID-19 pandemic. For many of you that don't receive the chamber's communications, on March 18th, the chamber quickly reacted to the pandemic by surveying members to determine how to best support them during this difficult time. They promoted local business offerings via social channels, posting temporary closures and changes in operation on their website, and bringing the community together under the hashtag Cedarburg Strong with a fun yard sale sign campaign. The chamber is about community and our local economy, and without one, you really can't have the other. Each year, there's always a reason to love being part of the wonderful city we live in. But this year, we're especially blessed with the many people and companies that stepped up to keep Cedarburg alive and well. Your participation today is an example of that. At PWSB, we are extremely proud of our team's recent work to help customers get access to loans from the Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program. This program was put in place to help with payroll and related costs. Nationwide, community banks have received an average of 200 program applications, ranging from $50,000 to more than $500,000, according to a recent survey from the International Community Bankers Association. We're proud to say that we nearly doubled the average, processing 398 loans totaling $42 million and saving 4,965 jobs locally. Along with this accomplishment, our Cedarburg branch in Washington Avenue celebrates 13 fantastic years in the community, and we also celebrate our 121st year in a business as a family-owned community bank. We thank our loyal supporters for getting us to both milestones. Thank you again for all of you being here today. I am now going to turn things over to Chairman Dave Salvaggio from the Town of Cedarburg. Thank you.
Good to go. Good morning, David Salvaggio here, coming from the Town of Cedarburg boardroom. Thanks to Maggie and the Chamber for inviting us again. I got a few slides for you to take a look at, some information. First one is State Highway Project 60. You probably already know about the resurfacing project going from Eagle Drive in Jackson to Five Corners. You'll have right turn lanes, 6-foot paved shoulders, and most importantly, the roundabout going in at Granville. It's going to be a huge improvement for the highway. Completion date is late September, and the roundabout work actually at Granville starts Monday. The picture I have is a picture of Corb entrance, Johnson's Nursery, and the bike trail intersection. That'll give you an idea of some of the changes that are going to be made there. Next slide. This is a newly constructed sign at the entrance gate to the Corp Sports Complex, which is 32 acres west of Five Corners on Highway 60 on the south side.
Craig Shank.
Is now exiting.
Next slide. This is an aerial shot of the Corp. You can see we have 4 Little League fields, 3 soccer fields, walking trail, 4 T-ball fields, all the things necessary for a good program: backstops, clay infield, outfield fences, dugouts. We also have water fountains out there and 130 trees we planted. Next shot, please. This is our other 2 fields behind Town Hall, immediately to the west of Town Hall. This is Caston Field. This is our 1 turf field. You can see it's pretty well equipped. Lights, backstops, dugouts, everything, really a quality program. These 2 fields bring us up to 6 official fields and 4 T-ball fields. Next, please. Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin provided 4 electric scoreboards for us. These are on the baseball quad. This one happens to be sponsored by Marge Eline. We do have 3 more, and your name could go right where Eline's is on the other ones. So there's opportunities there. Many thanks to our sponsors and the generous benefactors. We have a grand opening set for September, and actually play starts today out there with practice, 2 weeks of practice, and then baseball program starts. Next slide, please. This is the logos for our growing rec program: Cedarburg Little League, youth soccer, flag football, and track and field. Also not on there, we have a lot of interest in fall baseball, so that's looking really good, and the numbers are up. We probably got in the neighborhood of 800 kids signed up for different programs. All of our programs are paid for by sign-up fees and sponsorship, so no tax dollars go into running our programs. Next, please. This year, the town board approved a new subdivision on Granville Road, south of Sherman, and it's a 9-lot subdivision. So with that comes another firefighting cistern. This will bring our number up to 10 spread throughout the town. These are 30,000-gallon cisterns, which equals about 12 to 15 truckloads of the fire truck to get to an incident. Much more efficient water delivery, a lot safer on the roads, and also helps with our ISO rating for insurance premiums. Next, please. Here's Eric, our town administrator. You may have worked with him already as a clerk or a planner or a rec coordinator. Eric's been with us a number of years, and he's moved up to administrator. He's doing a great job. Next, please. This is a shot of our public works crew. They do the road work, and all of the services that the town provides. They did a great job during the COVID and continue to juggling schedules, juggling trucks, really doing a fine job. There's a lot of talent in that group right there. Next. Election was a little challenging this year in April. We took all the safety precautions that we could. Lots of plexiglass, tape, sanitizer. These petitions, which are both at Circle B and at Town Hall, were constructed by Public Works guys. Next. We have a dedicated group of chief inspectors. They had quite a bit of work, extra work to do this year with all the precautions, but they did a great job. This is a shot at Town Hall. Next. Next slide, please. This is our e-notify, which is on the town website. If you haven't signed up already, you can stay informed with road work, town services, meeting agendas, and minutes. Actually goes out at least once a week for notification. So really good way to stay up to date on things in the town. Next, please. I know we have a 4th of July parade this year. This is a shot from last year, but the town contributes to the fireworks program. And I know the dump truck full of town board members will be missed. But always a good time, one of the best seats in the parade. So that's it for me. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you so much, Dave. We appreciate your time. If anyone has a question for Dave, please make sure to add it to the chat part, and we will get to questions after the presentations. With that, we will move on to Mayor Mike O'Keefe. Mike, I just want to make sure you're unmuted.
How's that? Is that a little better?
Much better. Thank you.
All right. Maggie, I think you can actually go to the next slide too, but.
Okay.
Well, thanks to you, Maggie, and the Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce for putting on this forum again this year, although in a slightly different manner than we have in the past. And also thanks to the Port Washington State Bank for their continued support of the Cedarburg Snapshot. We can roll to the next slide. You can go to the next slide, Maggie. All right, there you go. Oh, wait, nope. Yeah, here it is. Well, may you live in interesting times. I was in a meeting with City Administrator Miko Hilvo, who had only taken the job, been promoted to City Administrator on January 1st of this year. And on March 17th, we were discussing the COVID-19 situation and what our response should be. And that's when we learned the governor had ordered bars, restaurants, and non-essential businesses closed at 5 p.m. that day. So to think bars would be closed on St. Patrick's Day seemed incredible at the time, but it now seems like a reasonable response. You know, immediate decisions needed to be made about City Hall, the Public Works facility, the library, the police and fire departments, and of course the senior center. Eventually things were closed to the public for walk-in, and telephones and internet connections gained importance. We discovered and utilized Zoom meetings, but you know, we also had to consider the legality of holding public meetings on a virtual format. Kind of gave our city attorney, Mike Herbrand, some heartburn. As we know, the situation changed not just day to day, but hour to hour. But during the entire time, City Administrator Miko Hilvo and the city staff were just amazing. They considered creative solutions to problems that we had never imagined before. I can't say enough about the ingenuity and the work ethic of all our city employees. They've just done a fantastic job. We conducted an April election using volunteers to replace some of our regular poll workers, many of whom were higher risk. We utilized absentee voting by mail. We did in-person absentee voting with traffic cones to regulate personal spacing and volunteers to protect our city clerk staff. In-person voting was held using plexiglass barriers and the continuous sanitizing of voting stations.
Elizabeth.
Is now joining.
Truly an incredible and inspiring effort by all involved. During this difficult time for our local businesses, the Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce has been fantastic. They promoted the support of our local businesses with their Cedarburg Strong program, and they kept everyone up to date on recent developments. And they also utilized their website to inform the public about the availability and the operating format of our various businesses. They continue these efforts with their gift card program and the drive-in this summer. That sounds fun. Cedarburg Library staff was trained to assist citizens and businesses on the constantly changing procedures and processes for state and federal assistance. On May 11th, the City Common Council, with my support, voted to recommend the Cedarburg Police Department use their discretion to ease the ban and allow our local businesses the option of opening. A plan was developed in conjunction with the Washington Ozaukee Health Department and recommendations and CDC guidelines. The Wisconsin Supreme Court decision followed only 30 hours later. Now at the city level, we are trying to help our business community recover from this unprecedented event. We are recommending safe health practices. I believe businesses can help themselves by incorporating safe, healthy protocols to boost customer confidence. There's a market-driven incentive to be safe and responsible. As the county health director advised, transmission of COVID-19 is far less likely in an outdoor environment. City administration and the Common Council have eased restrictions on tents and other outdoor seating options for this summer. And in order to help businesses promote new and unique practices, we have eased our normally stringent signage standards, allowing businesses to use their creativity to find ways to conduct commerce. Thank you to everyone who supported our local businesses. It was amazing to see the creativity of our Cedarburg business community in a time of unprecedented and really just unforeseen challenges. You can go to the next slide, Megan. I also wanted to touch on a few areas of remediation and redevelopment in the city. The former AMCAS property on Hamilton Road has seen significant cleanup with the help of a $3.2 million remediation TIF, tax incremental financing district. This long abandoned property in the heart of the city will see new life as a development after the contamination issues have been addressed. Our efforts here have led the Environmental Protection Agency to plan a cleanup of the quarry pond at Zoiner Park, which will make it usable for recreational purposes. We continue to seek use for the St. John Avenue site following the Mercury Marine cleanup. We also hope to work with the Town of Cedarburg and Mercury Marine to address the use of the former Prochnow landfill. The site of Carrick Machine on Western Avenue near the Interurban Trail is an intriguing site worthy of development and
Unknown
consideration.
participant is now joining.
Other underutilized areas within the city. So we hope to keep our Community Development Authority and our Economic Development Board busy. We can go to the next slide, Max. For some, I guess now it's time for some much needed great news. Something has been on the back burner for years is finally coming to fruition. A 60-acre parcel on Highway 60 west of Circle V is the site for the new city business park, scheduled for construction beginning this fall. We've reached a developer's agreement with the Velo Group to serve as our anchor tenant. Velo is a family-based German industrial pump manufacturer and the parent company of longtime Cedarburg businesses Weil Pump, Scott Pump, and also the former Carrick Machine plant on Western. While Velo was considering other options, we made a strong push to keep this great corporate citizen in the city of Cedarburg. I would like to thank Velo Vice President and also president of Wild Pump, Jeff Plaster, who truly championed our cause with the German parent company and their board of directors, retaining 200 jobs for the city and convincing Velo Group to build their U.S. campus right here in Cedarburg. Next slide, Mag. This project was made possible by the recent development along Sheboygan Road, which brought utilities to the Cedar Place apartments near Highway 60. Utilities will be run to the site from there, and we have worked through issues with the State Department of Transportation regarding Highway 60 access and the Wisconsin DNR regarding any wetland concerns on the site. You can see on the map here where we're going to bring it across, basically just a little bit south of Circle B there to get sewer and water over to the business park. It's been a long road, full of wetland delineation studies, core samples, engineering schematics, attorneys working out minute details of the developer's agreement, and the creation of an infrastructure tax incremental financing district. This TIF needed approval from the City Council and the Joint Review Board. Our friend Todd Bugnacki was the school district representative and on the Joint Review Board and voted for approval. So thank you, Todd. We can go to the next slide, Maggie. In addition to the Velo manufacturing campus, the business park will feature 29 acres of shovel-ready lots for additional economic opportunities. The manufacturer portion of our region's tax base has been declining for decades, and we are delighted to have an opportunity to reverse this trend. Due to the advancement of the utility infrastructure and the business opportunities being created, the business park is already encouraging taxable development in the area. The Bayman's Golf Center parcel is currently being designed for residential use, which is not part of the TIF district, and will feature mostly single-family residences. Many of these residences will be at a size and price range attainable by first-time homeowners who wish to live in and contribute to our community. This will also result in the expansion of our tax base and welcome relief for our existing residential and business taxpayers. The ancillary benefits of this project on our local businesses will be significant. You can go to the next slide, Maggie. This is a project which has been over 25 years in the making, and there are too many people, past and present, to thank here today. But I would like to specifically acknowledge Cedarburg Light and Water Director Dale Lishawn, who failed to say no quickly enough when he was asked to use his expertise and his unique interpersonal skills to act as the contact person between the city and the Velo Group. And I need to also thank City Engineer Tom Wiesa, who is a true professional when it comes to getting things done. His work ethic and knowledge were invaluable to the success of this project. So thank you for inviting me to speak on this important forum, and kudos to Chamber Executive Director Maggie Dobson.
Unknown participant is now exiting.
Unknown. For pushing through a pandemic to keep this great event viable and possible. We'll continue to, Cedarburg will continue and will recover and thrive, and we will remain Cedarburg strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. A reminder, everybody, those who are listening, please mute your microphones and your cameras if you can. And also, if you have questions for Mayor O'Keefe, please put them into the chat bubble at the bottom of your screen, and we will talk about questions at the end of the presentation. So Todd Bugnacki, it is all yours.
Thank you, Maggie. I trust you can see my screen.
We can.
Excellent. Thank you, Maggie, for having me here today. The school system, we're very excited to present and be a part of this event with Mike and Dave, and shout out to Port Washington State Bank for their sponsorship. I think this is a wonderful way to bring our community together, and through the presentations today, you can hear the excitement, energy, and synergy that exists And that's exactly what we need during these times, these challenging times. My presentation is going to provide an overview of the district and some of the challenges we've faced during this COVID environment, and give you a preview of what the fall will look like. As always, I like to start out with an image of our students, and it's always good for us to keep in mind that the reason we are here is to serve our students. And so this is a picture of our students, and you can see it looks like they have the cat in the hat on, and I suspect this is Read Across America. As a school system, we have strategic components that we continue to use and focus on through any crisis, good or bad. We are looking at those strategic components and making decisions based on those strategic components. And so here you see our mission statement on the left, our vision, our purpose, and our beliefs. All of those items feed these buckets, and we put our work, our task, our jobs under each of these buckets. So we organize our work according to these particular pillars, and it's these pillars that I'm going to draw your attention to today. The way these slides are laid out, the next 4 slides, they have the pillar at the top, student engagement and development. In the gray box, you will see this year's goals with the white checks, and then you'll see some key accomplishments, recognitions in the box in the bottom of that gray section. And then over on the right-hand side, you'll see some areas that are related to COVID and our response to COVID. So as most of you know, that when COVID hit, everything had a pivot. So we went virtual. Well, the decision to close schools was made March 13th. And from there, we have had a emergency remote learning environment. So the goals that we had entered the year with on the left-hand side, those 3 checked areas, are now morphed into the goals that you see on the far right-hand side. I can tell you that we took roughly 3,100 kids and put them in an emergency remote learning environment. And we were a bit prepared for such a crisis because we have internal platforms that our kids were used to. Kindergarten through 5th grade, we have a platform called Seesaw, and from 6th through 12th grade, we have a platform called Canvas. And so although we use those platforms when we're in the brick and mortar setting, there was a great deal of work that needed to be done to prepare those platforms for really emergency remote learning experience for our kids. And a shout out to our teachers and our administrators who did an absolutely fabulous job turning on a dime. I am very grateful for all the parent support because parents had to navigate not only providing education to their kids, but also running a family and working from home. So there's definitely challenges that we all faced, and I applaud the tremendous effort that everyone put forward to deliver a meaningful experience for the last 55 days. So number 2 there, determine specially designed instruction. Just want to let you know, we have probably just over 300 students who are in need of special services, and those services still had to be provided even in a remote environment. So we had to figure out ways to provide that specialized instruction to small groups and individuals through an emergency remote setting. And that's not a challenge. That's a huge challenge, I should say. And our staff, our teaching staff and our support staff stepped up to provide and meet the needs of those students. I can tell you that the school system, when we went to remote learning, we kept all of our employees on, and the focus was providing instruction to our students. So our part-timers, 3/4 time and full-time support staff, paraprofessionals were all kept on, and they helped us provide the best possible remote learning experience to all kids in the system. And that's unlike other systems. Other systems may have gone through layoffs or reduced hours, but we needed all hands on deck to provide the services to our kids. In the third area there, under student engagement and development, is our summer academy. We are going to continue to offer a summer school experience, albeit a remote experience. We are in the midst of designing those courses and asking parents to register for those courses. And it will be a bit personalized. It's going to look different than it has in the past, but we'll be certain to deliver a service that I think is going to make the parents and the students pleased. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention, turning back to that gray box down at the bottom, some of the key accolades, recognitions, accomplishments for our students. And you can see some of those are in that box. I won't read them all, but certainly when you think about what has occurred during this year and turning to this remote environment, our students still strive to put their best foot forward, and we continue to receive accolades and achieve at a high level. And that last bullet there, 4 CHS students placed 3rd in National Cybersecurity Contest. I think that gives you some insight into where we're turning as a system. We know that the job market is changing, even in a COVID environment. And this club that had started just over a year ago has excelled, and pretty impressive for our students to take 3rd place in the national competition. The next pillar is communication and community partnerships. And we could not go into this remote environment if it wasn't for the support of the entire community. The Cedarburg Education Foundation has been a consistent supporter of our system and has provided a great opportunity to bounce ideas off of, and have provided financial support to the system. And those partnerships are critical for us. During this environment, we had to communicate consistently and over communicate with our parents. We came out of the gates communicating from a district perspective on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then we pivoted to a Tuesday, Thursday, and now we're down to just a one-day Wednesday communication once a week. And the idea was to over communicate coming out of the gates from the district perspective and the schools, to make certain that parents were informed and understood how we were going to move forward in this environment. One of the areas I'll just draw your attention to is number 3 there, building project. There was a lot of communication going out and within the system regarding how we were going to continue with our building projects and the precautions necessary. So communication between the architect firm, which is Growth Design Group, C.G. Schmidt, our construction firm, and the district, and then communicating out to the public. So a lot of communication. In this environment, you cannot, there's no such thing as over communication. Everybody wants the communication, and whether they read it or not, that's their choice, but just knowing that that communication is there is extremely comforting. Working backwards, I'm just going to touch on number 2 there. As we entered this environment, we knew it was an unprecedented, uncharted territory for us, and so we had to ensure we were hitting the mark. So in order to get the feedback we needed, we surveyed our staff, we surveyed students, we surveyed parents, and we're continuing to do that. That feedback is critical for us to—
Kelly?
Is now exiting.
That feedback was critical for us to provide the best services possible for our students and our staff, and to respond to parents' questions and concerns. The third pillar is staff engagement and development. Again, you see the goals that we entered the year with, the 4 white checks there. Down the bottom, you see some of the highlights and accolades we received this year and continue to receive. And of course, the first bullet was probably the most outstanding. Cedarburg High School ranked number 2 in Wisconsin and 206 nationally by U.S. News World Report. Very proud of that accomplishment. We don't necessarily go out of the gates looking for those things. We just do the right work, and it's very rewarding when our staff is doing the right work, our administrators, our school board, and we are recognized for that effort. So you can see there are a couple other acknowledgements that we are certainly proud of. Looking over to the right-hand side, impact on student engagement and development through this COVID environment. So when you take an entire brick and mortar system and on a dime go to emergency remote learning, clearly there needs to be professional development, and there was not a lot of time for that to occur. So it was real-time professional development for our staff. So that meant having meetings like this on a regular basis, many times, multiple times during the day with our staff, to make certain that they were at a level that they felt comfortable so they could provide an online experience for our kids. And that continues right up through today. This is our last week of school, and we are planning to continue to provide professional development to our staff throughout the summer, because the fall is a bit uncertain, and we want to make certain that our staff are very proficient and competent in working in a remote environment. Also, we needed to determine the best safety measures for our essential staff. Throughout this closure, essential staff remained on site, and that would be our custodians and maintenance, our technology department, and our food service. those three departments continue to work through this closure. And so we had to develop and make certain that the staff understood what safety measures were expected of them and train them in those safety measures. And to this day, we are still, those of us who are on site are wearing masks. I'm not wearing a mask right now. I'm in my office and the door's closed, so that's permissible. But when we are out and about in the system and we cannot maintain that 6 feet of social distancing, the expectation is that we all wear masks, and there are other expectations we had. So when we pivoted to an online environment and closed the system, we needed to make certain that everybody understood what the expectations were if they were here on the system or when they re-entered the system. Number 3 there, just want to touch based on that very quickly, a re-entry plan. So we know these last 50 plus days we've been in this emergency remote learning environment. And so now the question is, what does that re-entry look like for our students and staff in the fall? And that's the work that's going on. It's going on through assessing and reviewing student data and information that we have accumulated throughout the school year and assessing our teacher needs. We need to plan accordingly throughout the summer, so we have a re-entry plan come fall. Stewardship of resources. This is a trying time for us when it comes to our resources. We're no different than the businesses in our community. We know state funding is going to impact us, and we will most likely receive less state funding this coming year. And we have to be prepared to adjust our services to provide the best service for our kids. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. And that work includes, what does it look like when all of our students return? What does it look like if our students have a choice of returning or working remotely? And what's the cost of that? I can tell you that, like most of you, business owners, you are spending dollars on masks, sanitizer, disinfectants, cleaning your areas on a regular basis, and school systems are no
Unknown participant is now joining.
So it's going to put pressure on our budget to get all the materials, all the PPEs that we need to ensure and instill the confidence in our staff and our students to return in the fall. So a great deal of work going on in the area of budget development for the fall. Here's another way of looking at all the work that has been impacted by COVID. Here you see the district departments and all the different areas that we're focusing on in this environment. I can tell you that the technology and assessment down in the lower left-hand corner has been a critical piece of our offerings. If we did not have the technology and the devices to hand out and distribute to our kids, we would not have a remote learning environment. And I am pleased to say that all of our students have a device and all of our teachers. We have about 3,300 devices out in the community. When we started this on March 13th, we were short about 1,000. The board approved devices for our lower grades, and we went ahead and purchased and distributed those. And so every student now currently has a device that allows them to access the online instruction that they need to. And the buildings and grounds area, we continue to develop our protocols for return in the fall. What does sanitization look like? What does disinfecting look like? What does cleaning look like? What's the routine? And every single aspect of our operation, whether it's building and grounds, business services, curriculum instruction, have all been impacted by COVID. It's like we are developing a brand new system through the lens of COVID. So every single practice that you can imagine, policies, everything is looked at differently in this environment. And of course, during this environment, we have a building project going on, and that building project continues. We are excited that we are on schedule and on budget. We will open up our elementary schools, our middle school, and phase 1 of our high school in September. September 8th is the first day of school. We are planning to open our doors and welcome our kids back on September 8th. So we're excited that we are on schedule and we are on budget. We have a lot of these images posted on our website, and I just want to run through a few of them for you. This is the Cedarburg High School. On the left-hand side, those long windows, that's the commons area, so our new cafeteria area. To the far left, you can see 2 stories there. The bottom story is our new STEAM area. The top story is our math wing. And on the far right-hand side, you can see an image looking down the hall of our new math wing at the high school. Webster work goes on. Webster interior work. We're demoing the current locker rooms and turning those into learning spaces, and we are improving security measures in the main office area. Thorson Elementary School, exterior picture on the left, that's a new sidewalk that runs along the front of the building, and a new entrance going into our 4K classrooms. Our enrollment continues to increase in the district, which is good for us. We will be filling these spaces in our schools. We've created opportunities in our 3 elementaries to accommodate for the increased enrollment, and Thorson is certainly our fastest growing building. In the right-hand corner, you can see our 4K classroom, the two new 4K classrooms, and we're excited to have those 4K classrooms, and we added 4K to the system a few years ago, and our enrollment's going up even without 4K, but we needed the spaces so we can create 4 section buildings at Thorson and Parkview. So we will be able to have 4 sections of each grade level at Parkview and Thorson. Parkview is a spit image of Thorson, so the same type of images on the left-hand side. That's the corner of the building, and I believe that's the music room. On the right-hand side is the new gymnasium, and that gym looks very similar to Thorson's gym. Clearly, it wouldn't say Thorson. It wouldn't say Parkview, it would say Thorson, but we're excited to have those spaces available to our students and to the community. West Lawn, we added a new commons area there and a new, which is the cafeteria, but it really will serve as a multi-purpose room. And that space is on the left-hand side there. That's an image of it. They did, C.G. Schmidt and Growth Design Group did an awesome job of matching the brick. You would never know that that space is an addition to the building. And on the far right-hand side, you can see the interior space of that commons area. And of course, lastly, our field turf. This was a privately funded project. It was not funded through the referendum, privately funded. A shout out to all the donors and sponsors of this project. This is not finished. Those letters are just laying there. That's not the way it's going to appear. They were just laying it out so we can get a sense of how it fit and what it looked like. And it's a good thing we did and took this aerial view because there were some changes that need to be made. The turf is just about done and should be open and ready to go by the beginning of July. So we're excited and very grateful for the partnerships that existed to help us achieve that goal. Lastly, just a shout out to school board members, the administration. They work behind the scenes, certainly aren't on the front line with like the teachers and our essential workers, but it's a team effort that's allowed us to achieve during these challenging environments. And of course, when we achieve, good things happen to us. And a shout out to all of you. We're very grateful for the partnership with the Cedarburg Education Foundation, the business partnerships that we've had over the years. Without you, we would not be able to strive and achieve at the level we do. And we're fortunate to have a great synergy between us, the city and the town, and the business community. And with that kind of synergy, we see growth in the district, and we see just a great level of accolades that come our way on an annual basis. And I'd like to thank you for the time. Again, thank you, Maggie, and thank you, Port Washington State Bank, for sponsoring this event.
Thank you, Todd, for speaking. We appreciate it. Reminder, if you have a question for Todd, you're welcome to add it into the chat box at the bottom. If you have questions for any of our other speakers, you're also welcome to do that. First, we'll switch over. It doesn't look like we have any chat questions at the moment, but what we can do is there was one submitted question that I wanted to address. One of them, it actually references Mayor O'Keefe, and it was in regards to Country in the Burg. We obviously are dealing with a lot of event closures and that sort of thing. You know, I'm not sure if it's a direct question in regards to, you know, whether it will be or won't be on, because obviously the city doesn't put that event on. But it's more or less, you know, what will the city's restrictions be, or if there are any kinds of, you know, restrictions for the public part of that event.
Sure, thanks, Maggie. I've been in contact with with Alex Yuhan, who organizes this entire thing. And the event isn't actually scheduled until August 29th. So it is almost, I guess, just about 3 months away. We've considered how it might be held. I know that last year, although it was very highly attended, we still had quite a bit of space to work with. So we might look into some options there. And also, I think he's just waiting until the end of July. He says that's his break point where a decision needs to be made or not made. So he's going to work with his promoters and with the organizers and the sponsors to work something out. Like you say, this thing has, been changing day to day, and I just don't think he's in any rush to immediately cancel it when we really don't know where we're going to be at in a month or two. So, but if it does occur, we're even working on maybe trying to find a sponsor to hand out masks and hand sanitizer as you come into the gate and everything else. So we're working on that. No decision yet.
I think it probably is safe to say that the city would be diligent with its public park. As with the town and the city, they have a very strong parks and rec program for each community or each entity. And there's a lot of pride that goes into that. So I know that the safety element is going to be the top priority. Of course, I don't speak for them, but I certainly know that they'll do their best they can to work with everyone to make sure it's safe. So thank you, Mike.
I could just add, Maggie, Alex was also thinking about, donating the proceeds to COVID relief if it does in fact occur, and if we're able to do it safely, we might be able to use this event to help out some people in need here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else has asked any questions. You all three did such an amazing job. They don't have anything else to know. They know everything now. I apologize if I'm missing anybody, but it doesn't appear that anyone has anything typed in as a question. I invite you, if Todd has a question.
Stacy Nowak is now exiting.
It's not a question for me, is it, Todd?
No, it's not a question for you, Mike. Maggie, I didn't get the question, but I just wanted to say that I have fielded questions from parents and community members just regarding the start of school. And as of right now, we are planning to start school September 8th on our start date. And our hope is to be able to provide options for parents and kids, those who feel comfortable and safe in attending what we have to offer in-house and brick and mortar. They can attend, and if they so choose for their own personal reasons want to remain in a remote environment, they can do that. That's the work that's going on right now, and I know parents are curious and community members are curious, what does that look like in the fall, and we're working through those details and working with the state and the local health departments to develop plans so we can be ready to welcome our students on September 8th.
Okay. Well, I think that's certainly good news. I know that, as parent of a child, it's certainly been trying for more than one reason, but students and school district and all of the schools in the community really have gone above and beyond for their students. So we certainly are appreciative of all of the efforts. There's one thing about this is that we, the kind of cliche comment, we're all in this together, but we really are. This is not something that one sector is dealing with and the other ones aren't. So, the best and the most opportune thing to do, I think, is to work together and to get through this together. I think that's really the only way we're going to be able to pass by the time and make sure that we're safe and healthy coming out of the end of it.
Yep.
If no one else has anything, I welcome your comments. I would appreciate, you're welcome to call or email the chamber anytime. If you have anything that you need to discuss in regards to today's session, We'd be happy to field your questions or get those to the correct person. You're also, I'm sure, welcome to reach out directly to any of our presenters today. And I'm sure they'd be happy to help you talk about what your questions and concerns are. So with that, we did it, guys, just about an hour. So thank you. Next year, I hope, like I told Todd last night, I hope we're all eating pancakes and eggs next year together. But I want to say thank you, number one, to Port Washington State Bank for their generous sponsorship yet again. Thank you to Dave, Mike, and Todd for speaking today. And also thanks to all of you for joining us. And thanks for staying Cedarburg strong throughout all these things that we're dealing with. So we appreciate your time and we hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maggie.
Multiple